Hi friends, so today we're going to have a mini lesson on when do you make a new paragraph in your story. So at this point you should have either printed out the Google Doc I sent you along with the assignment today. If not, it's okay. Just have two pieces of paper next to you because you're going to need that to write some stuff down. Also, don't forget anything that you write down that you can't hand in digitally, make sure you keep it in your binder because you will be getting graded for the work that you complete. Okay, so getting paragraphing down PATS. So that's an acronym, and this is a real easy way to remember. Well, when do I start a new paragraph when I write a story? So I make a new paragraph when, so the P stands for the place. So when the place changes in your story, that's when you want a new paragraph to start. So maybe your character went from the inside of a house to the backyard. That is when you want a new paragraph to start. By the way, I apologize because I was first doing this on Loom, but the Loom kept on cutting out on me. So now I'm doing it through YouTube. So bear with me. Okay. The A stands for the action. When the action changes, you want a new paragraph in your story. So let's say that your character is outside in the backyard playing a game of soccer, and now they're going inside the house to go to bed. That going to the bed, that part is in a new paragraph. You have to start a new paragraph because the action changed. The T for PATS stands for the time, when the time changes. So let's say they get up in the morning and they're sitting down and they're having breakfast, but now 3 hours later they're playing outside on the playground. Well, when you start the transitional phrase and 3 hours later, that is where you want a new paragraph because the time changed. And the S stands for when the speaker changes. So I was reading a lot of your fantasy pieces, and every time you put dialogue in your story, you want the dialogue to be on its own sentence, on its own paragraph. So every time the speaker changes, you have to start a new paragraph. Okay, so you can take out, if you printed it, the Google Doc that I sent you. It was 2 pages. So the first page is this one. When do I make a new paragraph? Taken from the Magic Tree House, and it's true, I took it right from this book. Okay. Dogs in a Dead of Night, and of course the Magic Tree House was written by Mary Pope Osborne. You know, it's fantasy, that's why I pulled it. I know it's stories that you've probably read when you were in 2nd or 3rd grade, but they're good. So look at the directions. It says read the following paragraph and decide where you would make new paragraphs. Put the paragraph symbol, which is that funny looking symbol there, which is a backward letter P, in front of the work that should start the new paragraph. So you can see I just took out some random pages from the book and I just typed them up, and I typed it in one big long paragraph. So we have to decide, well, where does a new paragraph need to start? So keeping in mind PATS, when the place changes or the action or the time or the speaker. So first of all, I don't see an indent, and you know that you have to indent. So right there, this needs to be indented. Okay? Now, if you're doing it on a hard copy, you just want to put that funny looking backwards P right there. I don't want you to have to rewrite everything. That's why I'm having you do the funny looking P. But if you didn't, it's okay. So let's read this. It says, Jack and Annie ran across the wet grass of their front yard and dashed down the sidewalk. The houses they passed were all quiet, but the world of nature was awake, with birdsong and dogs barking in the distance. Jack and Annie crossed the street and headed into the Frog Creek woods. Uh-oh, hold on. So first they were in their front yard and they dashed across the sidewalk. And now they crossed the street and headed into the Frog Creek Wood. Well, the place changed right there. So we need a new paragraph. Do you see that? Okay, so now let's keep on going. I just stopped right here. It was hard to see in the shady dark, but they were so familiar with the path to the tallest oak that they quickly found their way. The tree house was there waiting for them, but no one was looking out the window. Now look what's next. I'm noticing that quotation marks are next. And we know that when we see quotation marks, that means somebody is talking. So that the speaker changed. Well, we didn't even have a speaker before. So you need to start the speaker on a new paragraph. Darn, no Teddy, said Kathleen. And I noticed that there's a comma and then an end quote. We're going to get into how to correctly punctuate your dialogue on Wednesday, but I just wanted to show you that it's a comma first and then your end quote. And by the way, Mary Pope Osborne, she overuses the word said. So just keep that in mind. We're not going to change her wording. It's okay, but I just wanted you to see that she does overuse the word said, because we've had many conversations about don't overuse the word said. All right, so getting back, it says, darn, no Teddy, no Teddy and Kathleen, said Annie. Well, at least they sent the treehouse, said Jack. Okay, well, the speaker is changing right there. So we need a new paragraph. Okay, so again, notice that before it says said Jack, and by the way, that's called a tagline. Some teachers call that, or a tag. You have to end the quote, but the comma goes first and then the end quote and then said Jack. Now let's keep on reading. I see more quotes. Let's see. That must mean they were able to translate the next part of the ancient spell. They must have stayed in Camelot to work on the rest. End quote. Now another beginning quote. Yeah, probably, said Annie. Okay, so I'm seeing where it says yeah, that belongs to Annie, but the other stuff that's in quote is actually all part of Jack. So that's a pretty big paragraph for Jack. But you don't have to start a new paragraph there because Jack is still talking. It's just I had to put the beginning quote here before the word that because right before it was said Jack with a period. So I have to tell the reader, well, Jack is still talking. So that's why that quote is needed there. And then he stops talking right here. And now Annie is talking here. Okay? So that's why I need Annie's part on a whole new line. Okay, so let's keep going. Yeah, probably, said Annie. She grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Jack followed her. Inside the treehouse, uh-oh, the place is changing. I need a new paragraph. So, place changed. I need a new paragraph. Inside the treehouse, daylight was starting to creep through the windows. Jack saw a small scroll on top of a book in the shadow. That's it, he said. He is saying something. So that is what he's saying needs to be a new paragraph. Did you get that? So again, when do I make a new paragraph? When the place changed, or the action changed, or the time changed, or the speaker changed. Okay, so if you were able to print out the document I sent you, here's the second page. And again, this is taken from the book a couple pages later. And it says the directions. Here's another one. Read the following paragraph and decide where you would make new paragraphs. Put the paragraph symbol, which is a backward letter P, in front of the work that should start the new paragraph. All right, so I'm going to read this to you, and then you can pause the tape, of course, and try to figure it out, and then I'll give you the answers when you come back. But let me read it for you. Come on, hurry, said Annie, pulling on her shoes. But we have to look at our book, said Jack, and try to figure out. Let's look after we talk to Brother Michael, said Annie. He's leaving soon, and I have a feeling that he, or someone else here, is going to help us. Let's hope, said Jack. Still sore from the avalanche, Jack limped a little as he followed Annie out of their room. They passed all the closed doors lining the long torchlit hallway until finally they came to the parlor. From the dining hall, they could hear the clinking of silverware and china, but no voices. Jack and Annie peered into the room and saw about 40 monks sitting on benches on either side of a long table. Brother Michael waved from one end. The other monks didn't even look up. They all kept their heads bowed as they silently finished eating their noontime meal. Jack and Annie crossed the dining hall, weaving among a dozen St. Bernards resting with their heads on their paws. None of them had Barry's crazy energy. All right, so pause the tape and give it a shot. I'm going to leave this up in case you did not print it out. Okay, welcome back, friends. All right, so let's give this a shot. First of all, our paragraph starts with quotation. Somebody is talking, and they do not even have it indented, so we need to indent that. Somebody's talking. Come on, hurry, said Annie, pulling on her shoes. But we have to look in our book, said Jack. Well, Jack's saying that, so that's the speaker change. We need that to be on its own paragraph. And he keeps on talking until right here it says, let's look after we talk to Brother Michael. And right there, that needs to be on its own paragraph. He's leaving soon, and I have a feeling that he or someone else here is going to help us. And that Annie again is saying all of that, but where it starts, let's hope, that is Jack is saying that. So that needs to be its own paragraph. You getting that so far? Let's hope, said Jack. Still sore from the avalanche, Jack limped as he followed Annie out of their room. Now, all of this, he's not talking anymore, so the action is changing. We can definitely make a new paragraph there. Okay, still sore from the avalanche, Jack limped a little as he followed Annie out of their room. They passed all the closed doors lining the long torchlit hallway until finally they came to the parlor. From the dining hall, they could hear, okay, I'm feeling like right here, the place is changing. Now they're getting into close by the dining hall. So from the dining hall, they could hear the clinking of silverware and china, but no voices. Jack and Annie peered into the room and saw about, okay, wait, hold on. I changed my mind. Let me go back and look at this. So it says, they passed, I'm right here, that it says they passed all the closed doors lining the long torchlit hallway until finally they came to the parlor. From the dining hall, they could hear the clinking of silverware and china, but no voices. If you made that a new paragraph, that's fine. I'm just reading this again. I think it doesn't need a new paragraph there, but I think right here that Jack and Annie peered into the room and saw about 40 monks, definitely the action is changing there. That definitely needs a new paragraph right there. Jack and Annie peered into the room and saw about 40 monks sitting on benches on either side of a long table. Brother Michael waved from one end. The other monks didn't even look up. They all kept their heads bowed as they silently finished eating their noontime meal. So that's all taken place in that room that they peered into. So that's okay. But look what's next. Jack and Annie crossed the dining hall. Okay, the place is definitely changing now. That needs a new paragraph. Jack and Annie crossed the dining hall, weaving among a dozen St. Bernards resting with their heads on their paws. And by the way, the St. Bernards, that's a dog, because look, that's the cover of the book. resting their heads on their paws. None of them had Barry's crazy energy. And that's it. So notice that we did a lot of new paragraphs because the location changed. But we also did a lot of them when the speaker changed. So I need you to remember that. Okay, so what I need you to do right now is I need you to take out a piece of paper, and I need you to write on top of the piece of paper this slide, getting paragraphing down pat. I make a new paragraph when P equals the place changes, A equals when the action changes, T equals when the time changes, and S equals when the speaker changes. Please write that down, and when you're done, you're going to file that in the writing section of your binder. And this is a reference that you can always look at when you question, when should I make a new paragraph in my story? Okay, that's it, friends. When you're done, put that in your binder. Have a great day.